Well, in terms of nutrition, I'm no expert in nutrition, but this is my go-to at the moment. After about a mile, I'll be having one of these cyst gels, and then kind of every half hour, 20 minutes, half hour after that. Before I set off, I will have a smoothie, which I shall do in a minute, and a Cliff Bar just before I start. In terms of liquid, I'll be having a soft flask in my swim pouch with an electrolyte tablet in, and before I get in and after I come out, I'll have some water. Okay, to the smoothie. Handful of kale, decent amount of that. Some porridge oats, good amount of that. I've got some flax seeds, about a tablespoonful of that. Some chia seeds. This is my go-to smoothie, not just for training. I have this for breakfast early as well. And I'm trying to get me cholesterol down and receive doctor's orders. So a lot of this stuff is good for that, really. Handful of almonds. Peanut butter. I've got some blueberries, strawberries that are frozen, and I've got some grapes in there as well, so they'll go in. And I've got a stick of celery. I'm asking quite a lot of this blender. So we'll give it some out with a bit of juice. So that's pomegranate juice. And I've got some fortified soy milk. Okay, that's about it. Excuse the noise. That should do it. There we go, breakfast. Cheers. Well, looks like an absolutely gorgeous day for a swim. We'll go for 2.5 to 3 miles, we'll see. I was looking at a really good article, and I'll put the link in the description, about retaining heat. There's got to be an energy throughput, so you've got to put the right nutrition in, and you've got to keep working to keep your core temperature up, and also the kind of temperature in your muscles and around those kind of nerves that you know, kind of move your body really. It's amazing how your muscle power can reduce, and the speed of transmission across those kind of nerve cells can diminish with cold. So you've got to keep that energy in and keep working. So that was one thing I learned from the article. And the other was, you know, kind of psychological, where as fatigue comes on, you're going to drop into moods of anxiety or resentment for being there. So you've got to counter that with kind of ideas of, you know, why you're there. You're going to be proud of doing it. It's good for your body, all that kind of stuff, whatever works for you. But also counter the feelings of anxiety. You know, if you can say to yourself, can I do one more stroke? Yeah, usually. So if you can do that, you can get into the idea of, well, it only takes one stroke at a time and I'll reach my goals, really. So one stroke at a time. Any other ideas like that, and images and memories of I've felt like this before and I did it. So that requires that you have to have training sessions where you do feel fatigued but you succeed, and then you can kind of draw upon those memories. I do feel quite cold, but I'm not that cold, and at this temperature I can continue for another couple of laps or something. So I'm going to be thinking a lot about that today, really, as well. Kind of keeping working hard, get the gels down at, say, getting on for a mile, as approach an hour, and then every kind of half hour after that or something, 20 minutes, half an hour. Kind of keep talking to myself in that kind of positive self-coaching way, because you don't want to get out if you don't have to, because then you'll just set up memories of failure, and it'll not have a knock-on effect for a kind of bad session the next time, really. So I'll be thinking about that today. Well, look at that, flat as a pancake. So I'm aiming to go from this block to the sailing club and back and do that 8 times. That'll be 3 miles. See if we can break the barrier. There's Tinside Lido. Not for me, but nice place, isn't it? Okay. The other thing I find when I'm swimming is I'll lose count of how many laps I'm doing. So I've got a piece of string on there that I'll tie knots in. So every return I'll put a knot in it, and hopefully by the end of this there'll be 8 knots. There'll be 7, but hopefully there'll be 8. I've got the pouch with my gels and some water with electrolytes in, clothes in there, so I can get out and get changed anywhere, and obviously people can see me. No jet skis around today, but you never know. Ready to go. Length number 1. Okay, that's first return, so I'll tie a knot in the string. 7 more knots to go. Length number 2. Okay, second return, so I put another knot in it. Couple more returns, and I can have a gel and a bit of a drink. Okay, here we go. Well, that was an interesting bit of psychology. I was starting to feel a bit, kind of negative. So I counted my strokes and I found that it's 180 strokes from that end to this end. So there you go. That kept me going. That 180 strokes, by the way, was left arm only, so it's kind of 2 strokes in it really. Be 360. So one cycle, 180 strokes, and it's 0.18 miles across there, so the return is 0.36. Right, I'm going to tie a 4th knot. I've done 4 returns in there, and have a bit of a drink and a gel. In terms of taking in fuel to keep the kind of input of energy and the output of energy going to keep warm as well as move, sometimes there is a reason why you're cold, and that's like the back of my wetsuit keeps coming open, so I keep having to check that it's shut because I really was getting some more cold water in really. And the other thing I noticed today in terms of psychology is that when the tide changes, once it passes kind of low tide and starts coming in, the waves are different, so you start thinking, oh, what's going wrong with me, is it I'm starting to feel sick, but you have to kind of go with the waves in a slightly different way really, so just be conscious of how your body is in the water. So that's what I found works for me today really, just kind of swim in a different way that suits the waves really. Blackcurrant gel, yum. That was very nice in the mouth after all that salt water really. You don't really need to drink with those cyst gels, but I find it is important to have electrolyte in the water. You do kind of ship out, you have a wee every now and again and you feel like you're losing something, so put it back in. That sweat and urine, whatever goes out, maybe you've got to replace something of it. Good thing about doing the training here is that you got lots to occupy your mind, the scenery, what's kind of going on. These pontoons, people swimming to them and jumping off them. Lots of people in the water these days. Fantastic. Now it's warm. And I found myself dissociating. You can concentrate on your stroke, which is great. But then I was kind of thinking about work and kind of working other things through. And if the waves are all right, you can get into your own rhythm and think about your rhythm. And often there's a tune that matches it. So for me, it's Lou Reed's Perfect Day. That beat is all right for my stroke really. It keeps me in time. So yeah, lots to occupy your mind. That's what you need to do really on a long swim. Okay, here we go. Well, it was only 164 strokes coming back that way. Maybe the tide must be coming this way. Another knot. What are we up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is 6. I'll have another gel and a drink. One thing I found myself doing then is swimming too fast really when I was counting. I think I was breathing with the top half of my lungs and panting a bit. So it felt really uncomfortable. I had to kind of stop and just calm myself down and get back into a good rhythm again. That was helpful. One of the other helpful things I read in that article was, if you're doing a running marathon, quite often people stop for a walk and actually have a stretch as well. If you're feeling a bit kind of stiff, then think about where the stiffness is and have a good old stretch. maybe stop like I'm doing now for a bit of a breather and then pick up again. Why not? If it gets you to the end, that's the thing to do. Well, I certainly find it interesting identifying you know, what emotions you're experiencing. I'm definitely feeling kind of resentment for making myself do this. I've got one more return to go and that's 3 miles, and you know, I am motivated to do that now, but that last leg I was just, oh, what am I doing this for? So there and back, that'll be 3 miles and I'll be really pleased with myself. But yeah, it's going to take some self-coaching to get through this. Ah, let's go. Well, it looks like I'm going to do it. Just got to get to there, and that's 3 miles. I've broken my duck. I'm going to enjoy these last few strokes. I think I lost you on my tripod there. Whew, fantastic. That's my record for this year. 12th of June, 3 miles. Fantastic. And I'm going to enjoy tying my last knot in this piece of string. 8 knots, 8 times 0.36, which I hope is 3 miles. Okay, go and get changed and go and have a lie down. See you next time. Well, that was a little bit of a miscalculation on the maths of the little swim back that I had to do. So it was 2.88 miles, but this week I've since done 2 lots of 3 miles and a 3.5 mile. Fantastic. So I'm ahead of schedule. Next week should be 3.5 mile swims. So all good. Pleased with that.